I am the founder director of Parvarish Institute of Parenting, the one of its kind institute which I started about 12 years back in India. Um, but that's what I call my second life. I got married to Monica in the year 1995, and both of us were clear that we're never going to be parents. Uh, and that decision, that choice we made was because when we looked around, our relatives, our friends, the whole community, we saw a very different thing happening. So parents are very happy when they have a child. It's like the moment for them. Uh, it's like if I ask you to just take a minute, close your eyes, and go back to the time when you held your firstborn in your arms for the very first time. Uh, just remembering that moment is blissful. It's like beautiful. The world stops. It's like the most fulfilling, magical moment of our life. But from that day onwards, what I saw everybody around was exasperation. Like parents following up with their children, how to get up, when to study, when not to study, when to go play, when to sleep, when to get up. It used to be like they don't have anything else but this. And children are complaining about this, that my parents do not have any other thing to do but follow up with me all the time. If I'm sleeping, why don't you sleep? Why do you get up? If I'm up, you're sleeping. It's sleeping time. If I'm eating, don't eat too much. If I'm not eating, you're not eating enough. If I'm in my room, then you're why aren't you down there playing outside? So it's been, I saw children exasperated with these kind of questions from their parents. And by the way, when I spoke to the parents around, my own relatives, my friends who were parents, they used to say, children do not eat on time, they don't sleep on time, they don't listen, they don't do anything. We have to follow up for studies, we have to get them up ready for school in the morning. It's such a pain. Parenting is a job. So we looked at each other and we said, that's not us. We're not going to do that ever. Let's have fun in life, let it be. And whenever my parents used to say, I said, fine, if you want your generation to go on, look at your daughter, not at me. And that's where it all started. But in India, I'll tell you one thing. If you are married, it's almost impossible not to have children. And that's why it's the most populated country in the world. So everybody around, everybody I knew, I have a huge family in India, right? Everybody around wanted us to have a child, as if it was their business. Like I keep telling people that even on the dog on the road would come and ask you, do you have a problem? So we withstood that social pressure for about 6 years, and finally gave in. And 2000, Monica was pregnant, and that's the time it first struck me that I don't want to go that way. I don't want this journey for me, for Monica, for my child to be an exasperating journey where I feel that why did I make that mistake, and they feel that why was I born? Why can't we have the same joy and fulfillment and that bliss and the excitement of the same thing when I felt when I held him in the arms for the very first time? Like it was like the world stopping. Why can't we do that every day of our life? And that's where my entire journey of research around parenting started. And by the way, let me tell you, becoming a parent is like a biological thing. Parenting is not biological. We say parenting comes naturally. Yeah, becoming a parent biologically comes naturally. Parenting does not come naturally. And that's the biggest mistake we make when we think parenting is natural. It's not. Uh, just to support what I'm saying right now, I want you to look back and see 30 years back and compare what's happening today in the world. Were there less wars then? Were people more connected then? Were drugs, alcohol, sexual abuse, crime all less 30 years back? And if you really go back to history, you will see that yes, all of this has grown. The stress levels have grown, suicides have grown, children committing suicides have grown. Depression is the next pandemic. So if in 30 years, if you are parenting, thinking it comes naturally, the results show something very different. There must be something out there which is not happening, which is causing this. And that kept me on that I don't want to be that, I don't want to do that, and I don't want to do that. So there my journey about research, reading, learning for myself, learning from people how to do it, what to do, what's why does this breakdown happen in communication, why does this breakdown happen in that intimacy. And that led me to first do all that stuff, learn it for myself, and practice it with Aman. You can call him my guinea pig, sure. He's 22 right now, and that 22-year-old man has the courage, and we have a relationship where we can cry on each other's shoulders even today. If I am disturbed, I can go to him, put my head on his shoulder, and cry, and so can he. People say this generation doesn't listen, this generation doesn't connect, but that's what we can do. And by the way, when we shout at each other, there are times, then we give each other the space that, okay, fine, you can shout at each other. It's okay to shout. You may not be in the right mode, right moment, giving each other that space. And that's been, if you ask me, the biggest result, the biggest plus which I've ever got in my journey of not just parenting my children, but becoming a harbinger of parenting in this country, in this world now. So as we were growing up, the other thing I realized, children spend huge amount of time in schools, and that's the next parent. Maybe first 2 3 years of biological parent is your parent, but then they spend more time at school versus spending time with their own biological parents. Uh, and then the next thought was, if you really look at those 14 years, 2 years of kindergarten and then 14 years of schooling, formal schooling, uh, and when I look back at my own life, where was I left at the end of my schooling? A quiet introvert, I would say, person who couldn't even talk to people. I would be okay talking to a couple of people, but give me three and I'm dead. Uh, my voice won't flow. I won't have thoughts. The words will go missing. Communication skills were zilch. Somebody who was not even confident of and standing up for himself, let alone anybody else. Uh, my self-esteem, I didn't even know, by the way, the meaning of self-esteem at that point of time. But given my actions, I think it was way, way, way low. Uh, Not believing in myself, that's where I was. And I said that if every child has to go through these 12 years, where if the teachers don't force us or our parents don't force us to study, I could hardly find any child wanting to study. Even I spoke to the toppers. They were doing it because they said it will give them something. Given a choice, do you want to do it? The answer was no. So here was a system, a worldwide established system where every child and every government, every authority is wanting every child to get into school. So the next thought which came in was that if every child has to go through this formal system, how can we actually use this system to create real human beings who are compassionate, human beings who are high on self-confidence, human beings are who want to create stuff, who are together, who are great citizens of the world. How do we do that? And that's where the whole journey started off, working with schools, working with teachers. And one of the critical elements which we cover in this program that we do with teachers is talking about emotional literacy. If you really ask me, I'm 53 right now. Till about 40, 45, if somebody would ask me, Sushant, how are you feeling? I would say, oh, I think I have to do this. I think I did this wrong. I think I shouldn't have done that. Oh, I did this well. And the person who would ask me this question would ask me, Sushant, I didn't ask you about your thoughts. I asked you, what are you feeling? What do you mean, what am I feeling? I'm feeling okay. Uh, and by the way, life was great at that time. It was phenomenal. I had so much of resolve. uh, there was one day, I was sleeping, and I about 5:30 I got a call from my cousin, and he said, do you know, one of our third cousin, who's one of the most revered cousin in our family. He said, Sushant, he's no more. He was just about, he was not even 50 at that time. I'm talking about something which happened 12 years back. And it took me, believe me or not, 2 seconds to get present to, okay, fine, he's no more. And I was back out. Okay, he's no more. Let me handle the situation. Let me go to his place, speak to his wife, speak to his children. Let's see what happens. And that day, I led a seminar. And people in my seminar couldn't even feel that I was going through what I was going through. Because I think I didn't know what I was going through. It was a person from my life, a very critical person, somebody I loved, left, and that was it. I said, okay, move, next. So that was me. Life was, everything was on in the moment, live it. If it happens, nothing disturbs me. I will not let anything disturb me at all. I lived like 45 years of my life like that. And in the last 7, 8 years, I've really learned through people, through counselors, through people who've actually worked on emotional literacy, is about, can I get present to myself first? And if I'm not getting present to myself, not connecting to myself, I can't connect to anybody in this world. I would be this happy go lucky guy. Everything is fine. But did I connect intimately, emotionally with even my wife or my children till that point? Maybe no. So getting present to my emotions was like opening up a whole new world. And the minute I start getting connected to myself, I could really get that skill to connect to everybody in my life. That was the first time I could understand what my wife went through when she left her parents' place and started living with me. What happened to her when she lost her father? What emotions did she go through? When somebody comes to a house which is not theirs and they start living just because it belongs to their husband, I had no idea what she was going through. But for me, it was fun. Okay, fine. Now you start living with me. It's great. There's nothing to do with it. So that opened up for me. And this is something which we saw missing completely in the education system. Children walk into your class and we have a syllabus to cover. We have a curriculum to cover. And a teacher, maybe great or bad, doesn't matter. They have a lesson plan or then something in their head they want to teach today. And they will start off. But what about that human being who's sitting in your class? Like 30 to 40 different human beings coming from different backgrounds. You have no idea of what are they going through, what is happening in their house, what is happening to their mom, their dad, the communication. We have no idea of it. And that person brings a whole world into our classroom. And we are not even present to it. And then we are teaching those children. Now think about it. Do you feel as a teacher or as an educator or even as a parent that there are times when children or maybe you yourself, we couldn't concentrate, we couldn't even hear what the teacher was talking about, it was just not going inside. There were days like that and there were children like that who will just not get it. The teacher could be doing great stuff, bad stuff doesn't matter, but there will be some children who just don't get it. And the teacher will be exasperated that it's so simple, it's like simple logic and they've given it 5 times, 10 times, different times. But there were children who just couldn't get it. There were times I was like that. And just to give you a small flavor of it for yourself, I'm sure in your schooling journey, there would have been at least one teacher, one educator who would have connected with you and you would have connected with him or her. That if he or she says, Sushant, do this, I would drop everything and make it happen. My request is like take a few seconds and really bring to your mind that one teacher, that one educator from your school days who you connected with and she or he connected with. You know, I had such a teacher in my class one. In class two, when I got promoted, she didn't. As a 5 year old, I walked into the principal's office. And that was like one of the most difficult place to go to in a school. The principal is an authority and nobody goes there. Imagine a 5 year old walking into a principal's room and saying either demote me or promote her. And she looked at me and she called my parents for a meeting, asking them, "What's wrong? Don't you care for him enough that he's so attached to that teacher?" That teacher got retired about 10, 7, 8 years back, 7, 8 years back. And I happened to know. I cancelled all my meetings, took an off, spoke to a few of my classmates. We said, "Oh, Mrs. Kumar is getting retired today." Three of us dropped everything, went to the school, gave her a surprise on her retirement party. So I'm sure you would have had this kind of experience. Now, if you think about that teacher again, what happened? Why was that teacher connected to you? Why did you get connected? Why would you listen to her all the time? Even when they're reprimanding you or even when they are punishing you, you would not mind it. You know why? Because she or he, at some point of time, spoke to you like a human being, like a child. Like, what are you going through? Not what your marks, not how your performance is. And that connected you for life. And I think that's the connection we all miss. As a human being, every human being wants it. Every human being wants it. You want it, I want it, my child wants it. A 2-year-old wants it, a 100-year-old wants it. And that's blatantly missing in this world. Not your fault, not my fault. We were never taught, we were never told how to. Not even told how to do it for yourself, not even taught how we can do it for others. And that skill is missing. So when we work with teachers on how they can use the education system, how can they use their curriculum, their subjects to inculcate life skills. Like if you studied your math, your science, your social sciences, your history, we don't remember a thing of it. By the way, we never, I think, even used any of those knowledge. And currently, all that knowledge is available free of cost on your phone. And that phone will retrieve this far faster than your own brain. What is missing when children come out of school, colleges, is how to handle life, how to handle stuff when it happens. How do you react to emergencies? How do you react to people around? How do you connect to people around? How do you manage teams? Those life skills are missing. So while we train teachers to do all of that, the entire stuff starts from building an intimate connection with each and every child. When a child walks in, when a child behaves a certain way, we start addressing the behavior, but we don't know exactly what's happening inside. The behavior could be biological because of his biological stuff. Something is bothering him physically, not well, headaches, hasn't eaten well, could be anything. It could be a psychological stuff. It could be something social. Maybe they're dealing with something in the family with other friends. He's upset, she's upset with mom, dad, friend, cousin, brother, could be anything. Or it could be a cultural impact. But if as a human being, as a teacher, I'm able to connect and ask them, how do you feel? And get them to first get present to themselves. We don't have vocabulary. We know the words of emotions. I know I'm happy, I'm exasperated, I'm angry. So there will be lots of words we all know those meanings of, but our emotional vocabulary is pathetic. Because when somebody asks me, how am I? We say, okay, fine, good, great, happy. That's it. I think we don't go beyond 3 or 4 words. So if don't have that vocabulary for ourselves, we don't get present to ourselves, we don't know what we are feeling, we can't connect to ourselves. So what we need to do is first really create this vocabulary. One of the things I would recommend, and a small thing which I can say to all of you right now, um, you can see a lot of emojis, right? You can see a lot of feeling faces. You use lot of WhatsApp and it's all over there. Create a feeling wall. At a home, create a feeling wall. At a workplace, create a feeling wall at your school classrooms. And what I mean by a feeling wall, those huge feeling faces, just print them out, put them there. Have what exactly this emoji is calling that feeling face is saying, have it written there. Ask your children every day in the morning when they walk into the school, when they walk into your class, how do you feel? Ask them to look at those faces and see if they can pinpoint what they are feeling. And the next question could be, what's making you feel like that? I can promise you, in less than a month, you will connect to every child. And the minute you connect to every child, whatever you say will land. And this is something which is missing. We all are into correcting children. And what I keep telling teachers and everybody around is connect before you correct. And I think when you connect, you don't need to correct. It will happen. Nobody wants to fail in this world. Everybody wants to thrive. That's the basic human nature. We all want to move from one level to the next level of happiness, of thriving. Nobody wants to fail. But yes, they need somebody to ask them, how are you? And then it's okay. It's absolutely okay to cry out. It's absolutely okay to be angry. It's absolutely okay to be sad. And when you get present to your feelings and you get present to that, you can really connect to yourself and move on. So, friends, what we have taken on now is spreading this into the Indian state schools, taking up districts where these are state schools, these are the children who are maybe just below the poverty line, people who can't afford, and the teachers, millions of teachers who are out there. India has the second largest school structure in this world. I'm just can't imagine if this starts to happen in the school, if this education system takes it on, maybe a different world you and I will live in. Uh, and that's what got me in. That's what my life is for. I know I don't think this will happen in my lifetime, but I'm sure the seeds which are getting sown right now, they will continue to blossom. It's not, uh, we're not planting a plant or making a garden. We actually want this to convert into a jungle where the seeds which are sown right now start multiplying automatically and this spreads. So, all the best. Uh, Great talking to you and happy parenting.